Liberal talk show host. Laughs at Barron Trump. His epic response has everyone laughing. Can you imagine being in the spotlight where every word you speak is scrutinized? That's the situation tonight on The Samantha Reed Show, where the air crackles with anticipation for a clash of wits. The bright studio lights cast a professional glow over the sleek modern set, known for its incisive political commentary and relentless questioning. Tonight's guest is none other than Barron Trump, and the tension in the room is almost tangible. Samantha Reed, the seasoned liberal host, has made a career out of dissecting conservative figures, critiquing their policies, and painting them as out of touch or unqualified. Tonight, her focus is on the youngest Trump Barron. He's a rare presence in media, someone who stayed out of the political spotlight, yet now steps into it with an unexpected confidence. However, Samantha isn't convinced. She's planned an interview that appears lighthearted but is laced with condescension, aiming to make the audience laugh at Barron rather than with him. The camera starts rolling, and the audience cheers with a mix of curiosity and support, though some seem more eager to see how Barron handles himself than to back him outright. Samantha extends her hand as Barron, standing tall at 6 feet 7 inches, walks onto the stage. His calm demeanor starkly contrasts with the host's animated energy. He sits down, crossing one leg over the other, adjusting his suit with an effortless grace. Samantha flashes her trademark mischievous smile, one she reserves for moments of playful challenge. Well, we have a Trump on my show. I didn't think that would ever happen," the audience chuckles. Barron responds with a polite smile but keeps his composure intact. Samantha leans in. "Welcome, Barron. This is your first time doing a big sit-down interview like this, isn't it?" Barron nods. "It is." "Nervous?" The audience laughs again, assuming the young Trump might be out of his depth, but Barron just tilts his head, meeting her gaze with no hint of unease. Not at all. "Have you ever felt underestimated or judged before you could even defend yourself?" Samantha's smile falters for a moment, long enough for the camera to capture it. She clears her throat, brushing it off. "Well, I have to say, I think people are fascinated by you." She chuckles, shaking her head, and says dramatically, "I mean, come on, you're 18, you're ridiculously tall, and you come from that family. It's like you were made in a political laboratory." The audience laughs, and Samantha leans back, grinning smugly, expecting Barron to stumble or show discomfort. Instead, he simply nods. "I suppose that's one way to look at it." Samantha's smile tightens. She had anticipated some sign of discomfort, but Barron remained unshaken. She flips through her notes, deciding to push harder. "So tell me, Barron, growing up in Trump Tower, private schools, luxury vacations, did you ever feel like you were in a bit of a bubble? Like you weren't really seeing what real life is like?" The audience murmurs with anticipation. This was a classic trap. If Barron said no, he'd sound entitled. If yes, he'd be admitting his upbringing made him out of touch. But Barron doesn't waver. "Everyone grows up in a bubble, Miss Reed." Samantha blinks, taken aback. "Oh," she says, tilting her head, her usual smugness fading. Barron nods. "Your childhood, for example, was probably very different from mine. Does that mean you're out of touch with how I grew up?" The audience lets out a collective, "Oh," sensing the shift in control. Samantha's eyes flicker, her mind racing. He had cleverly turned the question back on her. "Well," she starts, trying to reclaim the upper hand, "I wasn't exactly flying in private jets as a kid." Barron shrugs. "And I wasn't hosting late-night talk shows." Every life is unique. I don't think anyone fully understands someone else's reality unless they've lived it. The audience claps unexpectedly, catching Samantha off guard. She laughs, but it's forced. Okay. I see you came prepared, but let's talk about something that's a bit more, well, controversial." She flips a card dramatically, glancing at the audience as if about to deliver a punchline. "Think about a time when someone made assumptions about you based on your background or family. How did it make you feel?" "Your dad," the crowd perks up, sensing the moment they've been waiting for. Samantha continues with mock concern. "Barron, I have to ask, growing up with a father as, let's say, outspoken as Donald Trump, did you ever feel embarrassed by some of the things he said?" The audience bursts into laughter, expecting Barron to squirm, hesitate, or dodge the question. Instead, he smiles slightly and leans forward. "Did you ever feel embarrassed by some of the things Joe Biden said?" The room falls silent. Samantha's smirk vanishes. The audience, not sure how to react, gasps softly. Barron remains composed, his face unreadable. Samantha, now visibly shaken, forces a chuckle. "Well, that's different." Barron simply shrugs. "Is it?" The audience erupts into applause. Samantha stiffens in her seat, gripping her note cards tightly. For the first time in her career, she's losing the narrative thread. She scrambles to salvage the situation, trying to steer it back to her control. All right, she says, forcing a smile. "Let's not get too political here. This is a fun show, right, guys?" The audience laughs nervously, aware that the interview has taken an unexpected turn. Barron sits back, relaxed and unconcerned. Samantha moves quickly to the next question, desperate to regain her footing, but everyone in the studio recognizes what has just occurred. The once confident host has been cleverly outmaneuvered by an 18-year-old. Samantha Reed is visibly flustered. The audience has witnessed the power dynamics shift, and she's now just struggling to keep up. She had anticipated a nervous, green individual who would stumble under pressure. Instead, she encountered a composed, quick-thinking, and quietly confident Barron Trump. Yet she's not ready to concede defeat. She flashes a strained smile, adjusting her posture to regain control. Okay, she says with a forced chuckle. "You got me with that one, but let's move on." She glances at her cue cards, her mind racing for a way to turn the tables. Then she finds her moment. She sets the cards down with drama and looks Barron straight in the eye. "All right, Barron, let's be real. Your father was one of the most controversial presidents in history. His policies, his tweets, the way he spoke about people, he wasn't exactly known for subtlety, was he?" The audience chuckles. Barron merely raises an eyebrow, waiting for her to continue. Samantha smirks. There were times when even his supporters cringed at what he said. Be honest, was there ever, for a moment, where you thought, "Dad, maybe you should just stop talking"? The audience bursts into laughter, eager to see Barron's response. Instead of laughing along or evading, Barron leans slightly, his piercing blue eyes locking onto Samantha's. "Are we judging presidents based on the things they say, or the things they do?" The laughter stops abruptly. Samantha blinks, caught off guard again. Barron's expression remains calm, yet his words carry an undeniable edge, imbued with quiet confidence. Samantha tries to recover. "Well, words matter, don't they?" Barron tilts his head slightly. "Sure, but actions matter more. If we judged every leader in history only by the worst things they said, we'd have to erase a lot of people from history books." The audience lets out a collective ooh at his retort. Samantha gives a tight, forced laugh, waving dismissively. "All right, Barron, all right, I see what you're doing, but let's be honest, you're young, you've lived your entire life in wealth and privilege. How can you possibly understand what the average American goes through?" The question was sharp, meant to paint Barron as detached and out of touch, but he was prepared. "I could ask the same about you, Miss Reed," he said smoothly. The audience gasped, then erupted into cheers and laughter. Samantha's jaw tightened. "Excuse me?" she said, raising an eyebrow. Barron remained unfazed. Let's be real. You've worked in media for years, you live in an expensive city, you probably have a team of assistants, and you're interviewing me from a chair that costs more than what some people make in a month." The audience roared with applause. Samantha's face flushed, but she forced another laugh, pretending to brush it off. "All right, Barron, I'll give you that one," she said. "But tell me this. Do you actually want to go into politics? Or are you just riding your father's legacy?" It was a baited question designed to frame Barron as merely a byproduct of his father's name, but he anticipated it. He sighed slightly, as if he had expected the question all along. "People assume I'm just here because of my last name," he said. "But the truth is, no one really knows what I stand for yet. And that's the funny part. People love to make assumptions about me before I even open my mouth." Samantha opened her mouth to reply, but Barron wasn't done. "You asked if I want to go into politics," he continued. "But the better question is, why does the media assume I have to?" Samantha was silenced for the first time that night. The audience erupted into applause once more, some giving him a standing ovation. Samantha's face twitched slightly, her mind racing to salvage the interview, but it was clear it was over. Barron Trump had managed a rare feat on her show. He had completely flipped the script. He had come in as a guest expected to be mocked, but was leaving as the one who had dominated the conversation. As the applause subsided, Samantha forced a smile, visibly shaken. "Well, Barron, this has been interesting." Barron chuckled softly. "Glad you think so." The audience laughed, fully aware of what had just happened. Samantha sighed dramatically. "All right, fine, I'll admit it. You handled yourself well." Barron nodded. "Appreciate it." As cameras fade, the last image is of Samantha shaking her head, muttering to herself, while Barron sat calmly, looking completely at ease. Soon after, the clip was trending under Barron owns Samantha. We're XX Shaw. Common collected future Trump. Comment sections flooded with reactions. He didn't just hold his own, he dominated. Samantha thought this was going to be easy. She learned today Barron Trump is not to be underestimated. By the next morning, several news outlets were dissecting how an 18-year-old had outclassed one of the most seasoned interviewers on television. And for Samantha, she faced the humbling reality of having underestimated Barron Trump. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that inspire and challenge us to grow. What would you have done if you were in his shoes? Let us know in the comments below.